Can you go down there? You can go down there. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Speaker of the National Assembly, Speaker of the Senate, Prime Cabinet Secretary, Governors, Senators, all leaders, good morning. My name is Wafula Chebukati, and I shall proceed to read the eulogy of my father as written. Wanyonyi Wafula Chebukati was born on Friday, 22nd December 1961 in Madisi village, Chwele location in Bungoma district, Kenya. He was the third born and first male child of John Wafula Chebukati, seated here, and Joyner Wafula, also seated here. Education. Chebukati started school at the age of 6 in Madisi Primary School. Chairman underwent the Bukusu Rite of Passage in 1976, and thus belongs to the circumcision age set Singilo, known as Bachuma Grade 3 or Bachuma Number 3. After his Certificate of Primary School Education exam, he later joined St. Peter Mumia School and later Bokoli School, where he sat for the East African Certificate of Secondary Education. He began breaking ceilings while in secondary school as he emerged the best student, obtaining a Division 1 of 11. In 1979, the young Chebukati got admission to the prestigious Lenana School for his A-levels. It was a major culture shock for him, joining a school with a British curriculum and way of life. He was grateful to his father for paying his fees, and he worked hard to be awarded a one-year scholarship from Lenana. He focused on his studies and excelled. Chebukati enjoyed the art subjects and was the best student in English, history, literature, and geography. In 1980, he was awarded the overall arts prize in his A-levels at Lenana School. When it was time to choose a career, he was impressed by a friend of his father called Captain, who was a lawyer, and he dressed up in suits. He desired to be just like him. He studied hard and concluded his studies in 1980 and gained admission into the Faculty of Law of the University of Nairobi in 1981. A year was lost outside of university following the attempted military coup in 1982. When he enrolled in school, he immersed himself in the study of legal principles and the intricacies of the justice system. His dedication to his studies was evident to all who knew him. As a university student, he was actively involved in the Students' Union and other student organizations. He served as chairperson of the Bungoma Students' Union and was involved in a lot of activities to raise funds for students so that they could also get a chance to study. He graduated from the University of Nairobi in 1985 and was sworn in as an advocate of the High Court in 17th November 1986. His class was known as the UON Class of 85. To better himself, he later obtained a Master of Business Administration degree from the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. He later wanted to enroll for a PhD, but he could not do so due to his illness. The family man. Beyond his professional achievements, he was a devoted husband and father. He met his wife, Mary, an accountant working at the Ministry of Finance while in Mombasa, where she was undertaking a training. What started out as him giving her legal advice ended up in love and courtship, with numerous phone calls to Nairobi, where she had returned, and bi-weekly flights to visit her. It took many dinners before he finally gathered the courage to propose to her. He cherished his wife, Mary. They went on to have 3 children, a daughter, Rachel, who is by my side, and 2 sons, Jonathan and Emmanuel. Chebukati was a hands-on dad. As true as he was to his profession, was as he to his role as dad. He always enjoyed the holiday season with family, as he would make it a point to take his family on holiday every Christmas period without fail. His family was his anchor, providing him with the strength and support he needed to carry out his duties. Chebukati found solace in his family. Within the bounds of the law, Chebukati's journey into the legal world was not just a career choice, but a calling. Immediately upon his graduation in 1986, he opened his own law firm, Wanyonyi and Company Advocates, in Mombasa, which he managed successfully for 20 years. He saw the law as a powerful tool to bring about change and to uphold the principles of fairness and equity. He was a principled lawyer and believed that a client had to be told the truth from the onset. Honesty was his mantra. To him, the law was not just a set of rules and principles, but its role was to protect the vulnerable and hold the powerful accountable. He spent countless hours poring over legal text to refine his skills. He was a sought-after speaker at legal conferences, at seminars where he shared his insights. He was often called upon for his expert opinion. Chebukati believed in giving back to the community and took great pride in mentoring young lawyers, providing guidance and sharing knowledge for them to succeed and establish themselves in the legal field. In the year 2006, he founded Kutu and Associates Advocates, a Nairobi-based partnership law firm with 5 others. Kutu was an acronym for All Partners, with C standing for Chebukati. Chebukati took on numerous cases, many of which were challenging and complex, yet he never shied away from a fight. He defended the rights of people, whether it was a high-profile case or a pro bono effort for a marginalized individual. Each case was handled with the same level of care and dedication. He believed that everyone deserved a fair chance and that the law should serve as a shield for those in need. He made significant contributions to the legal field and the field of corporate law and helped businesses navigate legal challenges within the bound of the law. Chebukati loved the law and had 38 years of post-qualified experience at the time of his passing. He has left an indelible mark on the legal landscape of Kenya. Politics. In 2007, he decided to try his hand at politics. He vied for the Saboti constituency parliamentary seats on an Orange Democratic Movement ODM ticket, and he came in second place at the helm of IEBC. Chebukati was appointed as chairman of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission in January 2017. Prior to assuming his role as a state officer, to avoid any conflict of interest, he resigned from his law firm and resigned as a life member of ODM. During his tenure, Chebukati led the IEBC through 2 challenging presidential election cycles: the 2017 general election, including the historic October 2017 repeat presidential election that followed, the Supreme Court's annulment of the initial results, and of course the 2022 general election. Under his leadership, the IEBC championed technological advancements to enhance transparency. One of his key initiatives was the implementation of the Kenya Integrated Electoral Management System, popularly known as KEMS, which enabled the electronic transmission of results from polling stations. In 2022, he made the result transmission portal publicly accessible, a move widely praised for promoting transparency. He also structured the IEBC's election management team, notably reorganizing the Presidential Election Project team in 2017 following internal disputes. His tenure at IEBC was not without challenges, as you all know. His decisions were scrutinized, his actions debated. There were controversies, there were disagreements, and yet he remained resolute. He faced criticism head-on. He defended the integrity of the electoral process. He firmly believed in the rule of law. He respected the Constitution. His courage was admirable. Chebukati officially exited office on 18th January 2023, becoming the first IEBC chairman to complete the 6-year constitutional term. In recognition of his service, he was awarded an Elder of the Golden Heart, EGH, Kenya's highest civilian honor, by Your Excellency the President. I wish to thank Kenyans for giving me an opportunity to serve them. It has been an honor. It was undoubtedly a challenging assignment, but I served my country to the best of my ability and in accordance with the oath of office that I took, he said upon his retirement. The contribution of Chebukati to Kenya's electoral system will be remembered in the nation's history. He has been a key figure in Kenya's electoral landscape. Beyond his service in Kenya, Chebukati was recognized on the international stage as well as the President of the General Assembly of the Association of African Election Authorities, AAEA. Sharing lessons learned in election management. After the 2022 general election, Chebukati embarked on a global mission to share his wealth of knowledge and experience on election management and leadership. He was invited to several countries. In July 2023, he was in Kingston, Canada, for the Electoral Integrity Project's annual conference, where he gave a presentation on the role of technology in improving the integrity of the electoral process in Kenya. In November 2023, Chebukati was invited to the International Center for Parliamentary Studies, ICPS, and the Portuguese National Electoral Commission to attend the 19th International Electoral Affairs Symposium in Lisbon, Portugal. In his address, he highlighted how the IEBC leveraged technology to ensure transparency in elections. It brought together representatives from the electoral democracy community to share best practices and initiatives for adaptation in over 120 countries. His efforts were rewarded when IEBC won the prestigious Election Management Award at the event. The Commission also emerged as runners-up in the Election Ergonomic Award. He then went on to attend the ECOWAS Network of Electoral Commissions ECONEC Symposium in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, where he delivered a compelling presentation on overcoming legal, political, and institutional constraints against electoral reforms. In this meeting, he shared how IEBC successfully navigated challenges to enhance Kenya's electoral process. Immediately after, he headed to Cape Town, South Africa for the 5th anniversary of the Electoral Commission's Forums of Southern African Development Community, ECF SADC. During his keynote address, he emphasized the need for fidelity to the law as key to ensuring that elections are conducted with integrity and trust. After this roller coaster of meetings, he declared, from east to west, north to south, I am grateful to have completed my 2023 global tour on sharing my election management experiences and leadership. Together, let's nurture and move democracy forward. Golf. It is impossible to talk about Chebukati without talking about his love for golf, which he played to the level of single handicap. He was an avid golfer, and he introduced his wife, Mary, and his children to the sport at a young age. Golf became a family affair. Every Sunday after church, he and his family played a round of golf. They had family competitions where they partnered up to compete against each other. Initially, he would coach his children himself, and then later on, he took them to be trained by the best professionals in Kenya and in South Africa, as he saw potential in them. This led to 2 of his children emerging among the top junior golfers in Kenya. Playing golf with the family was not considered manly by his peers, but he chose to do it anyway. Other male golfers found this odd, and they teased him about it. They did not understand why he preferred to play with his wife and children rather than with them. Family came first for Chebukati. Family time was important time to him. The Chebukatis would dress up in matching outfits when they played against each other every Sunday, and they became trendsetters. Golf was his escape. It was his passion. He said that golf taught him patience and strategy, qualities that he brought into his professional life. He was a respected member of the golfing community. He served as captain and chairman of both Mombasa Golf Club and Nyali Golf Club, and as the coast representative to the Kenya Golf Union. He also encouraged his wife Mary and daughter Rachel to take up leadership positions in the golf community, and was extremely proud when they not only served at golf club level, but also ascended to various golf leadership positions at a national level. Professional memberships. Chebukati was a member of the Law Society of Kenya and a member of the Institute of Certified Public Secretaries. How he will be remembered. Chebukati will forever be remembered as a dedicated and loving man. He cherished his wife Mary and his children, and he strived to give them the best of everything at all times. He will also be remembered as a fearless, principled, and diligent leader who served this nation with dedication. A man who stood for and defended the sanctity of free and fair elections. A man who exemplified courage and resilience, often under immense pressure, to ensure that the will of the Kenyan people was heard through the ballot. His commitment to holding the principles, democratic principles, earned him the respect of many, and he will remain etched in the annals of Kenya's history. His legacy will continue to inspire future generations to uphold the values of truth, fairness, and justice. His contributions to Kenya's democracy will never be forgotten. Promotion to glory. In April 2023, Chebukati was diagnosed with glioblastoma, GBM, an aggressive malignant brain tumor. He immediately had a successful surgery, and after his recovery, he was quickly back to undertaking his various duties as a retired state officer. During this time, he was invited to be a keynote speaker at multiple international conferences across the world. He wrote his memoirs, and he played golf frequently. Unfortunately, there was a recurrence of the GBM in April 2024, followed by a second successful surgery, after which he chose to spend most of his time with his family, who showered him with love and positive energy. He fought bravely, stayed cheerful, and beat the odds for many months. Sadly, the doctors informed the family that he had passed away on the night of Thursday, 20th February 2025, due to a cardiac arrest while he was admitted at the hospital. Thank you.
Let's appreciate the family for just being able to read the eulogy, eulogizing the great man who was their father. At this juncture, we want to get to hear some tributes. And as we do that, I would be requesting, if I ask you to come, kindly confine yourself to you saying what needs to be said, as opposed to bringing any other crowd to the stage. And so I'll be inviting members from the clan. I would invite Ndamwe Wanyonyi from the Babutu clan, and I will invite Kutu Sotolo from the Banyore clan to give their tributes. So Ndamwe, would you please kindly step here, and maybe Kutus, you could be on standby once down here. Ndamwe, yeah.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the honorable members present, the cabinet ministers, the Right Honorable Speaker, and members of Parliament. I greet you all in the name of Jesus. Praise the Lord. How are you? My name is Said Ndamwe Wanyonyi. I stand here as the clan chair of Babutu. Babutu is a peaceful, loving clan, and we embrace peace at every place we call. Your Excellency, we welcome you in this land of peace, and we want to agree with you that you chose to come. Thank you for choosing to come to be with us and be with us. Allow me also to say a word in our local language. Efwefwe Babutu basima olia, khwasima bandu, khwasima kumulembe, bakeni befwe niyo muli mwesi karibu. Thank you. Your Excellency, we thank you for considering to be with a hero, to be with a legend, to be with one general that we can rarely get. We also want to thank you, Excellency, for considering our other sons to be with you. Hawa wote ni wazuri. Maybe you may not be informed. The chairman of Babutu Trustee is none other than Honorable Dominic Wetangula, our great father, the father of Right Honorable Speaker, and Right Honorable Speaker, Your Excellency, he is our patron. Na sisi kama Babutu, we thank you so much kwa kunzita kumpea nafasi hiyo. Ni mtu ambaye tunamuenzi, tunampenda. And beyond Babutu, Your Excellency, Wabukusu ni watu wa Mlembe. At some point, unaweza kusikia ati Wabukusu wamesosana. Si ati wamekosana, wanapenda kukula pamoja. Sasa zingine mkikula pamoja, makuja yanakutana. So in that process, mtu anaona kama tunakombana, na kumbe hatukombani. Tunapenda kukula hivyo, Your Excellency. So karibu sana, yangu si mengi. Wakati unapoondoka katika nchi yetu ama in our land, sisi ni watu wa kupenda kukula na wageni. Babutu wameandaa busuma and engoho. Even in our funerals, Your Excellency, sisi tunakula. Kwa hivyo Babutu tunawakaribisha ukule na wewe. Na tukule na wageni wote ambao wamekuja hapa. Nimeshukuru sana. May God bless you all. May God be with you. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you, clergy. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, H.E. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, Prime Cabinet Secretary, Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, Your Excellency, Speakers of the National Assembly and the governors here present, honorable members, congregants who've come to mourn with us, good morning. Mirembe, as we say in Bunyore. I have come here with a big representation from Bunyore, Bunyore being where we come from and where Mary comes from. Mary is my sister who got married into the Chebukati family about 36 years ago. So we have representation from communities in Bunyore that are very closely associated with the late chairman, Wafula Chebukati. We have representation from a place called Kima, Mutete, from Bunyore. We have representation from a community called Epsiraro. We have representation from a community called Ebsiekwe. We have representation from a community called Ebsakami. And we have finally representation from a community called Abasikade. Abasikade is where we come from, and the community into which Mary was born. So that's a representation that has been put together to come here and mourn together with Mary and to support her in the passing on of a very dear brother and a very dear friend. A lot of people know the late Chebukati in different ways. As Chairman Chebukati, some call him Wafula Chebukati, but we all just call him Wanyonyi as a family. That's how we've come to know him over the years, and that's how we've been referring to him every time we relate with him, Wanyonyi. That's the name that we attribute to him as a brother-in-law. Now, we just want to remember Wanyonyi Chebukati just for three things, probably even four. One was his courage. We have never seen a leader who had so much courage to do two things. to take leadership and make some very, very tough decisions. This is away from his job as chairman of IEBC. Courage in a family sense. In a family sense, in taking control of situations that looked difficult, but which were, at the end of the day, needed some leadership in terms of finality of those decisions. So we respect him for that courage, and that is the courage that we've known of him over the years, up to the time of his demise about 2 weeks ago. The other aspect that we would associate with our late brother is really three things: honesty, integrity, and respect. Whatever they say about Wanyonyi, those three attributes is really what, for us as in-laws, drove him, especially respect. He had great respect for alternative views, our views, his views, family views, which drove the relationship between himself and ourselves as family. Honesty, integrity, and respect. We see a lot of comments in social media, in some mainstream media, about Wafula Chebukati, and those are really not the negative ones, descriptive of the person that we knew and of the person that we are burying today. The third attribute that we associate as a family of in-laws with Wafula Chebukati is really doing the right things. What is the right thing to do, faced with several different circumstances? You've heard him say that this is the Constitution, this is the law, this is what is going to follow. But from a family perspective, away from all that, he would always encourage us, his children, his brothers-in-law, to always just think through what is the right thing that you need to do faced with certain situations, and that we respect him for. And finally, Mr. President, it's really the resilience that our late brother had. He was so resilient, he fought. Even when, in his final days, with the illness that caught up with him about two and a half years ago, you could see that he is fighting. The doctor used to accept what the doctors were saying. He kept on fighting. When you saw him at home, when you met him in the hospital, in his hospital bed, you could see that this gentleman does not really want to go anywhere. He is arguing against the doctor's advice, and he kept on going right up to the end on that night, that Thursday night of 20th of February. So we respect him for the lives that we shared with him. We are very proud and honored that we had that opportunity to share a very long life and a very fruitful relationship with our brother, Wafula Chebukati, and we wish him very well as he goes on in his repose finally, and as he rests in peace with God. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Curtis. Speaking on behalf of the Banyore community. At this juncture, we want to hear a tribute, of course, from the spouse, together with the children, to the late Chebukati. I'll be inviting Mama Mary, together with, of course, the children to come. But as they do that, I want to invite the family song that is being done by the sister to Mary. Kindly make it very brief. You should be upstanding. We should be moving because we don't have that much time. Kindly make it very brief, and then Mama, you will kindly, very brief, please. We should be done by now.
Quickly, sorry, allow me to write on the protocols that have been established. If I could call Anmali quickly, Anmali Group, please. Quickly, please, thank you. So the song that we want to sing is a song called My Home is on the Rock. So as a family of Mary, we've always been strengthened by God, and despite the challenges that have been out there, you all know the challenges that the family has gone through, especially the immediate family. We've always stood firm, been strengthened by God, and we are going to sing this song. It's actually a Hallelujah song, and the choir of Gethsemane is going to help us on this. Ruben, when you're ready, please. You give us the cue, please. We'll just sing 2 stanzas.
Yeah, let's appreciate them. They come from Bunyore, where Mama Mary comes from. Before I invite Mama Mary together with the children, there's a request from the late Chebukati's dad, who wants to just greet us from where he is, because he actually got discharged from hospital today, and it would be unfair if we don't give him an opportunity just to... I wish there was a mic to give to him there, or they can wheel him so that he'll be given a mic from there. Just to greet us briefly, yeah, and then.
Nitasema Kiluya au Kikenya ndio Kiswahili na Kiingereza. Napenda kwa watu wote wanaumbwa na Mungu, na mimi ndio Wafula Chebukati. Huyu mama huyu jina yake Joina Wafula Chebukati. Huyu mtoto wetu wa kwanza ni mtoto mzuri. Nitafata kwa hiyo kumsalamia nyinyi wote, hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Nashukuru Mungu akimchukua, anajua mahali anaenda kumuweka, na mimi na mama tutafata. Kwa hivyo sina mengi, ni hayo tu. Asante.
Asante sana. Asante sana kwa salamu. At this juncture, I will be calling the immediate family, Emmanuel, Jonathan, of course, Rachel, together with Mama Mary. If you could just come to the podium here, give your tributes, and then from there we will listen to the word of God and we will proceed with the service.
All protocols observed. Good morning once again. This is a tribute to my father. No one can mess with me when I'm in my bullfighting hat. These are my father's words spoken to me on the last full day we spent together. I just come back from Bilbao in Spain, where I was attending a conference. And I came back with a hat, an authentic Spanish hat that they wear during bullfighting competitions there. So when I gave him the hat, I put it on his head, and he immediately said to me, "I feel like a bullfighter already." And then he went on to say, "Nobody can mess with me when I'm in my bullfighting hat." That was the Chebukati you knew, and that was the Chebukati the world knew. A man you couldn't mess with. But through my eyes and through the eyes of the family members seated here, you will see him as simply the best father, husband, brother that you could ever have. It is said that if you think Chebukati is tough and doesn't smile, then you don't know Chebukati. In my formative years, my father instilled in me a sense of responsibilities. While growing up in Nyali together, in Mombasa, he entrusted me with the responsibility of managing staff salaries, procurement matters. Each month I would prepare a budget, present it to him for approval, collect the funds, disburse the funds, and ensure that everybody appended their signature to confirm receipt of the funds. To him, it wasn't just about the arithmetic. It was about the understanding of the value of labor and the dignity of fairness. These skills would later prove invaluable in my career. And this was my dad, the nurturer. On to high school, and it was just the two of us in Mombasa in a large 6-bedroom mansion. The rest of the family had since moved to Nairobi, but my dad had stayed behind to allow me to complete my studies. It was a special chapter in our lives, and we settled into a routine. Takeout became our staple. Monday tulikuwa tunakula mabakio ya Sunday. Tuesday tunakula terrific Tuesday pizza, the one that comes on offer. Wednesday there was tikka at the golf club. We would go and do takeout there. Eventually we realized that this is unsustainable, and we decided to teach ourselves how to cook. He would occasionally bring back mudfish from South Coast, where he had a client, and I would experiment to try and make this fish taste nice. For those who know mudfish, perhaps Speaker, you might know, it is quite frankly the most horrible fish you can ever eat in this world. But together we made a meal out of it, and he would cook ugali and I would cook the fish. But the point was never the meals. The point was the conversations that we shared over dinner every night. This was his way of guiding me. It was never forceful, but gentle, trusting, and with room for me to grow into my own choices. And this was my dad, the companion. Driving was another bond we shared. It started in Mombasa, where I often chauffeured him to his meetings. And over time, I became the designated family driver, much to the displeasure of my two older siblings seated here. Together, we traveled thousands of kilometers, Mombasa to Nairobi, Kitale, Njoro, and the Great Rift Valley. He was always in the passenger seat, guiding me with his steady voice. Of course, the road trips weren't without their hiccups. Whenever I hit a pothole too hard or took a turn too fast, my mother would grumble from the back seat, but he would always defend me and say, "Leave him alone. If I was driving, it would be much, much worse." And that was my dad, the unwavering supporter, a believer in my dreams. Later, I joined USIU Africa for a degree in applied computer technology. Upon graduation, I immediately secured an internship and then a job. However, when I sat down with him one evening at the Royal Golf Club's 19th hole, and Your Excellency, PCS might advise you what the 19th hole is all about, I told him I was resigning for my job. Initially, he was annoyed. He was wondering, how dare you resign before you get a new job? But when I told him I was going to pursue a master's degree, he lit up and the concern went away. He immediately supported me, buying me an air ticket, preparing my school fees, and giving me my blessing, giving me his blessing. This was my dad, a champion of continuous learning. While at Carnegie Mellon, he kept close tabs on me, regularly popping in during his work trips. He was proud of me when I was elected to serve as vice president of the Student Guild, and I was sworn into office the same day he assumed office as chairperson of IABC, and coincidentally the same day that President Donald Trump assumed office as President of the United States. Perhaps there's some similarity there. One time when he and my mother visited, he asked me to invite a few friends over, and 15 people showed up. They all wanted to see chairman, and they were from all different nationalities at the university. Later in life, when he completed his term in office, they gifted him a stick, and it is this stick that he has used in his retirement as a symbol of his love and adoration for the African continent and for the gift that was given to him in Rwanda. When I started my business in Rwanda, we needed some money to secure some office space, and so my father gave me an interest-free 12-month loan of Kenya shillings 620,000. When we repaid him back 1 month early, the bank that we both banked with flagged this transaction. They said that this transaction is suspicious because I am the son of a politician. Of course, you all know that Chebukati was not a politician. Later on, the same bank refused to open an account for another one of my businesses. And when my dad heard of this, he went together with my mom to the bank and they began closing accounts helter-skelter. This was my dad who never allowed his family to be mistreated, and you couldn't mess with him. As I grew into business, I would regularly consult him. He would challenge me to go after more, do more, and market myself. After all, he had run a successful practice for over 30 years, so he knew a thing or two about business. Another evening on the 19th hole, after visiting the 19th hole at the golf club, he decided to escort me home, and I was excited that my father would finally get to see where I live. So I invited him, I showed him around, nikamwambia, ona mzee, kuna TV kubwa pale, ona mzee, kuna sofa, kuna fridge, and he was, he walked around and he never said anything. Then we went on to the balcony and I told him that I've secured clients and I'm doing very well and, there's this much in client billables. He looked at me and he simply said, "Iyo ni kidogo, you need to double your income, you need to do better." As time went on, my hard work was recognized and I was invited to Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh to receive an award. This is an award given to less than 100 alumni of over 100,000 globally. My father insisted on coming with me, and he insisted that we're going to fly in business class together. During that trip, my professors were proud to meet him, but it is in that trip that we noticed the initial symptoms of his illness start to kick in. Even after his first surgery, his dedication never wavered. I had the privilege of staying with him in Germany for a few months after he recovered. In those months, we took daily walks, brainstormed on his talking points, and prepared for his upcoming engagements. The engagements which I have elaborated on in his eulogy. The only difference now that it was once again the two of us, is that instead of eating mudfish, because there was no mudfish in Germany, we upgraded to eating salmon. And that was a good thing for the two of us. When we left Germany, I had the privilege of traveling with him across the world for him to deliver his addresses. We were in Ivory Coast, we were in Cape Town, and I also helped him prepare for his presentation in Lisbon, Portugal. Whenever we traveled, the reception we received was nothing short of statesmanlike. Despite his condition, he prepared for all these presentations and he delivered them with poise. He never needed talking points because he was speaking from his lived experience. In his final days, my father was surrounded by love and peace. We rallied resources for his care, we safeguarded his well-being, and we made sure that his family was always by his side. Indeed, no one could rest with him, not in life and not in his final moments. Rest well, Dad. I will carry your lessons with me forever and keep your bullfighting hat safe, a symbol of the wisdom you wore so effortlessly, the strength you carried with quiet dignity, and the path that you charted for me to follow. Thank you.
Yes, all protocols observed. Good morning once again. My tribute, as you can see, it's short and sweet. So I'll go on to read it. Thursday, 20th February 2025 will be a day I will always remember. The day you were promoted to heaven. It has been a long journey, Daddy. I never thought you would leave us in our early 30s. And it pains me to realize that you will not be there for us, your children, to give back to you. These past days, I've been going down memory lane, and I am proud that I was given the opportunity to call you my father. Daddy, you loved us deeply and worked tirelessly to ensure we had all we had needed and more. You are a man who was always willing to lend a helping hand, a man who was and is my #1 role model and mentor. A man of integrity and honesty, an unshakable man. I never thought there was anything you couldn't do. If you wanted to, Daddy, well, except avoid death. We built a lifetime of happy memories, ones I will cherish forever, and which time can never erase. If I were to pen them all down, I will need more than a book. Your #1 sport was golf. When I was 10 years old, I accompanied you to the golf course. I quickly took the golf and you said I was a natural. It became part of me. Your passion became mine. I had learned from the best. In 2007, when I got my handicap, which then allowed me to play professional golf around the world, you were so proud of me. You trained me, Dad, so that I could become the best in this sport. You and Mom enrolled me and sponsored me to join the Junior Golf Foundation, JGF, the foundation of golfers 18 years and below, to improve my golf by playing and winning in some tournaments across the golf courses in the country. I remember you sent me to South Africa in 2009 for a 3-month training to upgrade my golf skills. I gained confidence to bring my handicap down to 2 in a professional level. Thanks to you, we won the club match play foursomes in 2015, a tournament at the Royal Nairobi Golf Club, where our names are engraved, W. Chebukati and J. Chebukati, as per today. We are the first golf partners who are related to ever be champions in Royal Nairobi Golf Club. We both also have a hole-in-one at the same club. On the golf course, we connected as one being. You were my partner, you were a fighter, you were a team player. Family golf time was your idea. Those moments when we competed as a team of 2 against each other will forever warm my heart. We had so much fun and we enjoyed the rewards that came with winning most of the competitions. Golf will certainly never be the same without you. Whenever you played golf with me and you could strategize on how to win every time, losing was not an option. If it happened, you told me, it's not the end of the world, son. Your time will come. I still can't believe that you are gone. You are irrepressible, Daddy, one of a kind. Tears fill my eyes as I write this tribute. My heart is heavy with grief. Losing you feels like losing part of myself, but I find comfort in the Lord daily. Your life is hard to emulate, but I will do my best to live life of eternity like you did. I am confident that you are in heaven and are watching over us. I won't see you again on earth, but happily we'll meet again in heaven. I echo the words of J.M. Richards, which I quote, "No one wants to go through life alone, fighting battles single-handedly their whole life, not even the hardest of the heroes." I love you, Daddy. Rest in peace till we meet again.
His Excellency, President William Samoei Ruto, all the other dignitaries in the room, allow me to write on the protocols already established. My name is, as you're aware, Rachel Nekesa Chebukati, Nekesa being, I was named after my grandma. So oftentimes my would also call me his mom. So I'll start my tribute. To summarize how much of an amazing human being and father you are is an impossible task. I tried to sit down and write from beginning to end. It was impossible. So what I did instead was think about some of the things he used to say to me and quotes he used to say to me. So what I've done in my tributes is like a high-level summary or high-level overview of things that he taught me. So I'll read the quotes. One of them is, he'd always say, plan it, and then when you go to bed, dream about it, dream about doing well. So he would say that to me the night before I had a school exam, I had a presentation to make, I had golf. So we would literally sit down and say, this is what you want to do in hole number 1 all the way to 18. Think about it, dream about it, and go and implement it the next day. Little did I know he was actually teaching me how to visualize and teaching me the power of positive thinking, which has driven me to a lot of successes I would say I've had in my life. He would say, there's nothing you cannot do if you set your mind to it. You encouraged me to aim for the sky and to always believe in myself. You expected excellence, and rightfully so, because you worked hard to ensure you sent us to the best schools and exposed us to as many opportunities and experiences as possible. I've been told sometimes when I walk into a room, when I started working, that for a young girl you have a lot of confidence, a lot of confidence. Where do you get that from? That confidence came from my father. Most importantly, he led by example. He led by example. I'll give an example here. My dad always used to say, he expects excellence. He expects us, when we finish university, we all must get our master's degree by the age of 25. He gave us a target, and we all did get our master's degree. But I recall when I was in my 3rd year of law school, and he kept on saying, so have you started applying to universities? Have you started looking into what you want to do? Have you started thinking about what you want to do? I told him, I don't know, I'm not sure about doing a master's immediately after. He said, no, you must. And I said to him, but you didn't. I asked him, where's your master's? After I said that, my father immediately enrolled for an MBA. He enrolled for his MBA, and he also encouraged my mother to do the same. So in 2014, when I was graduating with my Bachelor of Law and also my Bachelor of Arts, I also did International Relations at USAU, because I couldn't decide what to do, so I ended up doing both. When I graduated with my bachelor degrees, my parents also graduated with their master's degrees in the same year. So there was no excuse. Later on in life, he said the same thing. I need a PhD from at least one of you. At least one of you. And he always pointed to me, you're the lawyer, you know. I need a PhD from you. And I asked him again, where's your PhD? My dad actually started the application process. Unfortunately, because of his sickness, he was not able to complete that dream. He always used to ask me, how was your day? I know it sounds cliche. We ask a lot of people, how was your day? But my dad did not accept it was fine. He didn't. He always pushed me to know every little detail, what happened in my big age, any presentation, especially when I had like speaking presentation related to my master's, for instance. He'd always ask me, how did it go? Tell me about it. Did you present well? Did you make us proud? Because for him, what we did and how we did it, it wasn't just him, it was the family brand name. Every New Year's Eve, when we sat down, he would ask us, what do you want to achieve? How do we help you achieve it? Because it's the brand that you're excelling. We call our name, our family name, the brand. So my dad probed me to tell me about it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. Some people seem to think he didn't talk much. My dad talked a lot. and he would just sit and make you laugh the most ridiculous jokes that you did not even think about. But he was very chatty. He was chatty with the people he enjoyed being chatty with. You celebrated my wins louder than I did myself, and always reminded me to stay confident in myself and my abilities during the low moments. Thank you for always being there to listen to me, for giving me the best advice, and for guiding me in every season of my life. My dad has been there for me my entire life. This last 1 year, he got a bit ill. When he got ill, I sort of also slowed down with all the many things that I would do, spend time with him, just talking to him about everything and anything. Honestly, I am so grateful for those moments. My dad was literally my best friend. Every weekend, I can count probably 3 weekends away from him, but I spent every weekend last year just with him and enjoying, conversation, having good meals, etc. Call me anytime. It's something we always used to say it. And he didn't just say it, he meant it. He always picked my calls. It did not matter where he was, who he was with at the time that I called. He always picked my call. It doesn't matter who he was with, whether it was an ambassador. He would pick my call and say, oh, I'm here with so-and-so. My daughter has called me. And then he would go ahead to talk about how great I am. I have a degree, a master's. Always took the opportunity to tell them about me. And I recall being anxious during the election periods, in particular 2017, because I was not in the country. I was away for my studies. And I told him, I kept calling him. My dad picked my calls every single time. And when I say I was calling him literally almost 28 times a day because I was very anxious about the whole situation. And he said, I'll pick your call, but the only time I cannot pick your call is when I'm at a press conference. And I say, that's okay, because at least I'll be seeing you on TV, so I'll be at peace. He always used to say, and this he said quite a lot, especially during the last year or so, the words giving up are not in our family's vocabulary. The words giving up are not in our family's vocabulary. Whenever I had a situation to deal with, he always used to say, yes, Rachel, you're a strong Bukusu girl. Giving up is not an option. And it's not just what he said, it's also how he lived his life. It applied to how he raised us, it applied to how he did his work, and it applied to how we played golf together. And more importantly, it applied to how he tackled his diagnosis when it came, when he was given. When he was diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is the most aggressive brain tumor cancer that exists. They told us there's no cure, but what we can do is we can actually just, he would surgery with chemotherapy, try our best to extend his life. He was given 4 to 6 months to live. That's what the doctor said. And my dad said, this sickness is not going to beat me. He went, got his first surgery, thanks to His Excellency the President. My mom will be the one to give the thank yous on that. And he got his first surgery, came back home. You would not have noticed. He set up a home gym. He was in gym every morning, every evening. He was walking 5 kilometers every morning. He continued with his work. All these presentations that my brother Emmanuel talked about in the eulogy, where he went to Portugal, he went to etc. Interestingly enough, that was the second tumor recurred in November of 2023. My dad's conferences, everything was already set up. We asked him, do you want to go? He said he has to. He's already planned for it. The sickness is not going to put him down. So he went for them, and what we agreed was each of us took shifts. We all accompanied him on at least one of them. just in case anything's happened, to help him take his medicines. Anyone who has experience in cancer, you know that the medicines are it was an entire hand luggage bag. So we accompanied him, and my dad did his presentations. After the presentations, he would be extremely tired, so just want to sleep. But you would not tell that during the presentations. And he did not want anyone to know. He did not want people to feel bad about it. So we kept it as a family. And I think the very first time we spoke about the cancer was when he passed on. So another thing I would like to say on the giving up. In 2017, there was a lot of calls for him to resign. And of course, at that point, I was much younger. I was scared for my family. I was scared for his life. Of course, he wasn't going to resign, but I said, please, just for us, you know. Come 2022, I was with him. I was now here. On the day, just a moment before he went to Bomas to announce the results. At that time, he had already received intelligence that somebody had wanted to end his life to stop him from announcing the results. So we sat together, the pastors prayed, and I hugged my dad, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I said to him, you don't even need to say anything, because I know you're going to stand for the truth. I know you're going to stand for Kenyans. I said to him in 2017, I was selfish. I asked you to resign for me. But in 2020, this for you, I know you need to do it for the country. You need to do it for the country. So we looked at each other without really saying much, but knowing that might have been the last time I would have seen each other. I had never seen my dad cry. My dad shed a tear. So I said bye to him, and I said, whatever it is, we will stand by you. And I hugged him, and I said, you go do your thing. I handed him over his speech, which, by the way, I used to assist him a lot with drafting his speeches. He used to trust us as a family also. Emmanuel would assist him with IT stuff as well. So the speech I drafted with him, I handed it over to him. I said, it's a great speech. So all the best. Whatever happens, happens, but we are proud of you either way. He didn't read the speech, by the way, because there was so much chaos at Bomas. But the speech he made was so impactful. He actually came home and he said, he didn't even remember what he said. He actually did not, because it was in a moment, that was him. That was him in his moment. It was such an impactful speech. He came home, he didn't remember what he said. He took off his shoes. He was actually bleeding. He didn't even know he was bleeding. Like, this was just my dad. Get the work done, which he got done. And he was just proud to have done his duty and stood with the truth and stood with his conscience. Because he always said what he does is for his legacy. And it's not just his legacy, it's our name as well. The people whom carry his name, the people who carry his name will live with that. So he was not going to do anything that would endanger our lives. So he stood by the truth, and I'm extremely proud of him for that. I recall telling him, after all that if I could just be half of who you are, I think I'll be great. I'll be a successful person. I'll be amazing. And he stopped me and he said, Rachel, you're not going to be half of me. You're going to excel. You're going to be way better than me. You're going to do more than I've ever done. Because that's what I want you to do. My dad believed in improving people, improving us, giving us the best of the lives. Even though he was a young man, grew up in Bungoma, he always gave us the best. Always brought us the best of things. I will miss having you to speak with. I will miss your presence and your hugs. I will miss your witty sense of humor. I will miss discussing the law, politics, and international affairs with you. Allow me to sidetrack for 1 second. My dad used to discuss law, politics quite a lot. 2017, he lost the election. 2007, he lost the election in Sabata, this constituency, formerly known as Sabata. And he had so many things that he was saying. If I was chair, I would have done this. If I was chair, I would have done this. Because he felt like the elections were stolen from him. So when the IBC job was advertised, I recall the first time, very few people applied, so I think they did not have enough people to shortlist. So the second time, him, his colleagues, everybody, especially me, kept on saying, this is for you. I kept on telling Daddy, remember all those times we've talked about what you would do, how you embrace technology in elections, how you embrace this and that. I know being a judge was where he wanted to go, but even he ended up applying for this, and he got it. So he always used to say I was the one who pushed him into it. I don't think I pushed him. I think he just did what he had to do, and I just encouraged him the way he would have encouraged me to do anything that I wanted to do. You never stopped learning. You were always eager to read another book, another article, attend another course. As soon as my dad's second surgery came up, he was back to reading, because I think at this time he had applied for the Court of Appeal job. He had been back, he started reading law books. There's some he ordered from Amazon, which were delivered to Germany. 2 days after surgery, like he was really back to that, improving himself, how he was going to be a great judge, so he always just wanted to improve himself. I will miss playing golf with you, Daddy. I will miss our weekly Sunday golf days, which are my favorite childhood memories. You'll always be my favorite golf partner, because we always took the risky shot, and we would often succeed because it all starts with being confident and believing in self. And when we missed the shot, we remained confident in our ability to make a remarkable recovery. Giving up was never an option, never. It did not matter how badly we were, whether we were 5 down. We always had confidence we were going to win the match play. I am eternally grateful that God blessed me with you as my father. I promise to continue to espouse the values instilled in me and to pass them over to my future children. You've been the epitome of love. Love for family, love for the law, and love for country. You have lived your life with purpose, with determination, with courage, and with diligence. Your pursuit of justice is unmatched. You have broken records, defied odds, and were never afraid to stand in your truth, even if it meant being an outlier. All in all, I am glad and grateful that you also lived a full life, as you always remembered to spare time to enjoy it, whether it be on the course, going on holiday, traveling to play different golf courses, spending time with family. He enjoyed his life, besides work. All these traits and more have shaped me into the person I am today. I will forever carry your legacy with me. I love you, Daddy. Being your daughter is the greatest honor of my life. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Allow me to ride on the protocols that have been established. Mr. President, I saw you admiring my macadamia farm, so I will not take long, so that if I do get a chance, you may walk around the farm. We have 10 acres of coffee, and we have 800 trees of macadamia out there. I have been very strong, but this morning I woke up feeling a bit weak, but I believe that I'll be able to go through my tribute. Sorry, I'm sure many of you are suffering what I'm suffering. We had a lot of dust yesterday. It's been a bit dry, but I've been taking a lot of hot water, so I encourage you to do that, because today I may have lost my voice. Beside me here is my sister, Lucy Muvira, and allow me, Your Excellency, just to call people forward. They will not speak. I just want them to come forward, and that is the team of chair, the team that took care of the chairman. They called him chairman. It's okay. Where is Langat, Ken? Please, wherever you are, quickly come forward as I proceed. Mwangi, Wamukoya, you know yourselves, Eliza, Andrew, and as they come forward, please allow Eric Wakili Nyongesa and the team of lawyers led by Ngumo, Wakili Ngumbo, just to come forward. You will not be speaking. And also Amanda, my cousin. Yeah, please come forward. As you come forward, just one verse that we used to like singing with the chairman in his last days. That is the team that was taking care of him. Choir, if you can assist me. Oh, where are they? But we can just sing. We give all the glory to Jesus. Ruben, maybe you can assist me now that I have no voice of my own. We give all the glory to Jesus. And tell of his love, and tell of his love. We give all the glory to Jesus, and tell of his wonderful love. We give all the glory to Jesus, and tell of his love, his wonderful love. We give all the glory to Jesus, and tell of his wonderful love.
Na Yesu apewe wokovu, tangaza neno, tangaza neno. Na Yesu apewe wokovu, tangaza upendo wake.
Thank you very much. Before you hear, if I can start with Eric, please step forward. Eric, he will, I believe, speak later. Other than being the chair of this committee, has been very, very supportive. Very many lawyers have been supporting. They would call in, but Eric, Kutz, please come forward. Kutz, my brother. Eric and Kutz, I used to play them a trick. Whenever they would say, can we come and see the chairman? Professor Gulie, please come forward. Commissioner Molu, The Three Musketeers. We used to call them the Three Musketeers, please. And Marjan, CPA. I call him CPA Marjan, the CEO. Your Excellency, this team were almost every other day on the chairman's case. So Eric and Kutz, my brother Kutz Otolo, step forward. That's my eldest brother. He spoke here earlier. They would, whenever they wanted to come, I would always make sure they come at lunchtime. So I would always tell them the best time to visit chair is at 12:30. I don't know whether they knew that my trick was to ensure they have chicken with him at lunchtime. And it worked, because then they would see it and cheer up with him. Eric, you could step aside. Professor Guliye and Marjan and Commissioner Molu. Commissioner Molu appeared to have been the spokesman, because every time Commissioner Molu called and made an inquiry about the chairman, immediately I would be told, get a response from CPA Marjan and Professor Guliye. It would be like it's a follow-up. So they never used to let me know when they are coming. They would wait when they are at Galleria, when they're just very near the home, and they would say, we are on our way. Of course, I couldn't stop him. So they only got off with a cup of tea and samosas whenever they visited. Thank you very much for what you've done for the chairman. In fact, I think they were the last people to see the chairman, because late in the evening before he passed on. Let me have the Wakilis, Wakili Ngumbo and your team. They will quickly just introduce themselves. Maybe you could just quickly stand here.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, and all excellencies present, my name is George Murugu, advocate.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, all dignitaries present, the Church, fellow mourners, good afternoon. My name is Eric Gumbo. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, all protocol observed. My name is Edwin Mukele. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya.
Thank you very much. The late Mutuba was also this team. So, Your Excellency, when I was not able to get some immediate assistance from you, this is the team that came and stood very, very strongly and ensured that we would travel to Germany, go in shifts. The children would go in shifts. I'd also like Amanda. Amanda, please step forward. Amanda is my first cousin. Her mother is named Rachel. Rachel was named after her mother. And she was always with the chairman. I think she knows more stories about him than I do, because they used to have a lot of discussion sitting out there in the garden. Thank you, Amanda. And that made it very easy to have the eulogy. It came out in a day of his passing. This other team, step forward. I don't see Ken here. This team, God bless them. Langat, step forward. Langat came in as a casual and eventually was trained to be our worker. He was literally almost the right hand of the chairman. They used to chat together, and when we felt the nurses were not giving us the best of treatment, Langat was trained, and he literally took care of the chairman. The chairman loved him, and today him and Chris stepped forward. Chris came, and my mother used to sponsor Chris as a student, but when my mom passed on, I took over his sponsorship until he finished Form 4. His English was not the best, but after they started with chairman and got a lot of training, he used to text me and I wondered what had happened. So I asked him, Chris, what happened? Your English has really improved. He told me chairman always tells him, if you want to speak to me, speak English. don't just be making sentences. So with time, he came to learn very good English and makes very good sentences, including Langat. Andrew, please step forward. Andrew is the younger brother to the chairman, and they live in Nairobi. Andrew and his wife, and in fact his child Gift was one of the last people that on a Saturday, Gift was the last person to speak with chairman because he wanted to have a swim in the swimming pool, and the chairman said, no, you can't unless you have a swimming costume. So he said he was going to rush home to get a swimming costume to be able to swim. The following day is when Emmanuel came and visited him with the kofia that he has mentioned, the bull kofia. And that is when chairman was in full conversation. That time he was really conversing and engaging. So Andrew, thank you very much. He's also a pastor. Then I have Eliza. Eliza is the youngest and the last born, and was been very, very supportive. Every moment she had, that moment was for her brother. She took care of her brother on behalf of the other siblings, whom I believe you will have a chance to see. Thank you very much, Eliza. Next are these two gentlemen. Mwangi, step forward, and Wamukoya, step forward. These are the aides. I had them at aides, but they were very much there for the chairman. Everywhere I went with the chairman, they were there with us. So this team that is here, thank you very much. May God bless you for having done what you've done. You can now take your seats. So my sister and my brother, the day we got the news, and Eric are the ones who escorted me to the hospital. The news of his passing on the 20th of February, the hospital called in and they said, you need to come to hospital now. And that was almost midnight. And I said, why do you want me to come to hospital? But I knew it was that dreaded call that I never hoped that it would come through. And I said, no, I'd rather you talk to my doctor, explain to an hour earlier. My doctors were such that we engaged any time of the day or night. They were very, very supportive. So it turned out that they insisted that they want me to come in. After 5 minutes, they called back. They said, we've spoken to the doctor, and the doctor says, you might as well come in because he had a cardiac arrest, and while we were trying to resuscitate him, we lost him. I said, what do you mean you lost him? You are now telling me he has died? And they said, yes, that's what we are telling you. And I said, you're just telling it to me like that? And they said, yes. Then I said, is that what it means to be a next of kin? That you can be called any time of day or night? And that is when it occurred to me, when you are ready to be a next of kin, then be ready for such shocks. And it reminded me that all these years, when I stood before at Mariakani Christian Center, as you will see in my tribute, when we walked down the aisle with this handsome man that is lying there, when we walked down the aisle, I said, in sickness and in health. I didn't understand the meaning of those words until death did us part. So when you make those vows, just know they are not for the sake of it. Because my husband, I stood with him in sickness and in health. You heard the stories of health. We enjoyed a lot of golf. In sickness, it has been almost 2 years since that day that he was diagnosed with GBM. I will not read my entire tribute. I will interject it once in a while. But I start by saying the formal journey between you, my darling, and I began on the 21st of April 1990 when we solemnized our marriage at Mariakani Christian Center. But our story started long before that. I first met you when I was attending a training sponsored by the National Treasury in Mombasa, 1988. You were then running your law firm, Wanyonyi and Company Advocates. I will fast forward on my tribute and remember that because some of the things which have already been said, I will not repeat them. I remember when you ran for the MP seat in Sabata. Saboti, sorry. I said Sabata because Rachel said Sabata. In Saboti, Trans Nzoia. You were adamant that I accompany you to the campaign rallies, but I resisted, wanting to focus on our young children, the young family, while also managing my job because I was I was working in the public sector in the Coast Province. You didn't want to hear about it. You wanted me by your side during the campaigns. I didn't understand why, but over time I realized that while you needed my support in your public life, you were also committed to ensuring that I was never in harm's way. We lost the election, as Rachel says, and when we lost the election, the commissioner didn't allow the results to be tallied. When we went to the hall after elections, when he kept on realizing that our form, the agents form 30, that time they were calling them 16A and B, that our 16A was different from their own 16A, and we had the agents who had signed. What happened is he realized there seemed to be a difference and a divergence in the results. So he suspended the tallying and he said, go home. We shall notify you when to come back. Indeed, we were notified to go back around 2 a.m. When we went back, the tallying did not continue. He simply announced the result. Of course, we had lost with a very small margin. My husband, being the lawyer that he is and the person who demands for his rights, set up a team. I remember my sister Helen was in that team. They were sitting in some hotel somewhere in Kitale, tallying, comparing all the forms. And by the end of it all, they felt that we had been denied our election. So we kept our forms in our house and we said we need to rush back to Mombasa where we lived. We had left the children at home and we said we were now going to put up a petition. So we left this box full of our Form 16As in the house. And while we were heading home, there was a lot of fracas that time. That was 2007. Getting out even was a bit of a problem. But somehow we found our way to Nairobi. We posed at my parents' house, and then we proceeded. But just before we got to Nairobi, we got a call from somebody, and he asked us, do you have anybody in the home? And we asked why. He said, because we have told there are 2 police vehicles, Land Rovers, that are headed towards your home. Said, oh. So they said, make sure there's nobody at home. In the next 1 hour, our home had been raided. Nothing was taken except our nice little box which had our Form 16As. So there went our evidence. We could not petition. Rachel has given you the rest of the story, how determined he was. And I'll tell you, he tried looking for that commissioner. He has not found him until today. Because he really felt he was unfairly treated. Now, those early days, though his friends called him Cheb or chairman, he had these very good friends, Lumatete Muchai and Peterson Semenye, who kept him company in the early years. I used to call him honey, I would call him darling. That is when we had got married. So when Rachel came along, of course the name changed. We became Baba Rachel and Baba Rachel. So the honeys and the darlings disappeared. That's why I decided to have my flower here with honey on it. At least now that the children are grown, I can still call him honey. But honey, I have to call you honey because I'm saying bye to you. I was transferred from Mombasa. I used to work in Mombasa then later to Kwale. I was transferred because I was outgrowing the station. But because of my family, I did not want to leave. But my bosses at the National Treasury insisted that I had outgrown and I have to move. So I moved to Nairobi. I didn't know how to tell my husband to join me, because you don't tell a Luya or a Bukusu man to follow you when you are transferred. They will not. So I started by pulling Rachel slowly for her studies in Nairobi. I pulled Jonathan, and then I left Emmanuel behind with him. Emmanuel has given you the story, because I used to do the cooking. Now there they were, the two of them. They didn't want to employ anybody to work for them, and Emmanuel has explained to you how they ate the mud fishes. So with time he knew it would be a matter of time Emmanuel would leave to come for further studies in Nairobi, and then he would be lonely. That is when they made a decision to come and join us in Nairobi. And if they had not come to Nairobi, I don't think they would have established Kuto and Partners, that firm that he established, because then there would have been no need for him to come. He became the managing partner, and other than their company growing in terms of career and everything, that's when now it was easy to do the masters, and it was also easy. It was possible for him now to take up the job as the chairperson of IEBC. We had a lot of, other than playing golf, he encouraged me to take up leadership. Rachel has mentioned it. As for me, I went to the highest level. I became the chairperson of the Kenya Ladies Golf Union, a position he felt I needed to take up. And I thank God for him, because it instilled a lot of leadership skills in me. Now, my husband had this habit of starting a project and throwing it at me. The macadamia trees you see out there, there's coffee somewhere down there, bananas we had done. He just decides we are going to do this. And then along the way, he says, now you run with it. I didn't then realize, it's only recently it occurred to me, this gentleman was preparing me to take over all these responsibilities. It's only recently, when I had a chance to sit, that it occurred to me that is what he had in mind. Because I have been so strong, I don't know where my strength comes from. But this morning, I almost lost it. I almost lost it, but I have a team of women with me. As I'm giving my tribute, please come forward. Muganda and the team, you know yourselves. Just come and stand here. You will not talk. They have been praying for me. They have been singing for me. And today, usually it's them who insist. Wake up, we are going to pray. Today, I actually talked to them, approached them, and I said, ladies, can you pray? And they prayed. So I was being prepared. Now, my husband is a very generous person. Every birthday, as you have heard in our family, was celebrated. Those younger days, I used to get jewelry for gifts, necklaces, chains, earrings. But as time went by, that changed to buying me phones. The latest iPhone, I'm not an iPhone person, I would go for Samsung. Until now, I'm still a Samsung. But to him, the iPhone was the phone, because he felt he needed to give me the best. I will talk about his surgery. Now, he, as you have been told, and maybe before that, his favorite verse was read out here, and his favorite verse was Mark 8:36, and he loved saying that, for what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? That is a verse he loved. Maybe before I talk of his illness, I can mention that dreadful day of August 15th, 3 days after Rachel's birthday. It was a hectic period for us, no doubt. I will not go into details, but for me, it was divine intervention, because just when he was trying to leave the house, he couldn't leave the house for one reason or the other. we requested, the bishops, archbishops of Ole Sapit called in to request him to assist in